Are we live? We are. Hello, everyone. Well, this is exciting. Friday night, talking about travel, talking about the Maldives. So I'm with Natty, who has been in our Tribe Travels for a long time and contributes so much. You've shared your experiences so many times before, and you're always putting conversation starters in the group, and you're helping a lot of people. And we had a conversation before on Messenger, and you do write a lot of reviews on travel sites. You really love sharing your info. So it's so amazing that you're here, and it's been a really popular topic, surprisingly enough. The Maldives. It's on my bucket list. And
Absolutely.
I think most people are put off by the price, aren't they, really? Because most people think that you have to do a package holiday, that you have to go to a major resort. But I know a couple of people in the group, and now you have just done it recently over Christmas, where you've planned it yourself, all separately, the flights, the accommodation. You've traveled around whilst you've been there in different locations, and you've
Mhm.
had an amazing time, as we've seen from your photos. So
Oh,
tell us about your trip, because you went over Christmas, which is an expensive time to go anyway.
absolutely. So I think it's fair to say about 8 years ago was the first time I went to the Maldives. And, I always challenge myself I always have this dream of going to super luxurious, hard to get to places on a budget. And 8 years ago, we went to the Maldives and we found a little way to game the system in a way. We went to a local island, and on that island, the hotel owner was so well connected that every day we were able to do a day trip to a luxury resort for like a fraction of the cost.
Oh, wow. That's a good
So,
tip.
yeah, so that was just amazing. So, we just had to pay for the speedboat transfers and we went to like these really lovely resorts, and each resort, it's so funny, the thing about the Maldives, each resort kind of caters to a specific demographic. Like this resort targets Italians, or this resort targets the French. And so it's really interesting to see how the resorts kind of grow and shape around that. So that was 8 years ago. And I made some local friends there, and we kept in contact on Facebook. And you know, this guy shared a lot of Maldivian history with me, and I got really interested. And I started doing research on the local islands as well. And they have developed significantly. And then I just kind of looked at drone pics of the different islands and I chose.
Oh, is that how you
So
get it?
yeah. I looked at the beaches. I mean, so I stayed in December. I stayed in three different islands, but I did day trips to six islands.
Wow.
So yeah, and the food, Susie, the food is so good because the Maldivian service industry is kind of run by Bangladeshis, Sri Lankans, South Indians. So the food was
Wow.
on point. It was lush and spicy. And in the Maldives, they grow their own hot peppers. So I
Oh,
had
yes, I
fresh
love
hot
hot peppers.
peppers. I had fresh hot peppers with every meal. They don't serve alcohol because it is an Islamic country. So on the local islands, they have no alcohol whatsoever. But if you go to the resorts, you can have alcohol.
Yeah.
I know some of the resorts are stricter than others right now with COVID, and they're not allowing outsiders, but we were lucky um, to go to one resort one day for a day trip, but the local islands completely trumped it.
Oh, amazing. And that's what we really want to focus on, isn't it? Because
Yes.
I said to Natty actually that I went online, just had a look at a typical package holiday, on the cheaper end of the scale for December, which is when you went. And for a family of four, it came back for the basic hotel. It was the cheapest one of the lot, was 11,500 across the Christmas period. The same hotel with the same travel company, actually in November, was £6,400. So it shows the price difference across those months. So you went in the most expensive period because November to April is the key period for the Maldives, isn't it? Otherwise, you're traveling in the wet season. And you did your whole holiday all in for around £6,000, didn't you?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the flights, as we've spoken on camera about this, but the flights were about 2,600, and the
Yes.
rest was accommodation, food, and all the local transport and everything else. So you have to consider that if you move that trip into a slightly November or January or February, it would be even cheaper than that. So I think that, and obviously it depends where in the world you're flying from as well, because the flights are obviously one of the most expensive parts. So
Yeah.
let's talk about how you booked it, because this is where you love doing your planning and your research, isn't it? You love booking a holiday and finding all the deals. So can you share how you did this, please?
So initially I had so Skyscanner or Momondo is what I do to find flights, but I never book on those partner sites because I've been stung before where a flight has been cancelled and they didn't rebook me, so I had to pay out of pocket. So I just always book directly with the airlines. And my go-to airline is Emirates, but they were so expensive this time round that I ended up going with Singapore. And the service was really good in Singapore, but it was such a long journey. My
Oh,
children were just exhausted. And so that's a top tip. If you're coming from London, do not fly through Singapore.
yeah, I know. Because you'd be exhausted by the time you arrive, or the kids will anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do you know what? I mean, I love traveling, but traveling in COVID, oh my God, it's so anxiety provoking, isn't it? When I got to the airport, when I got to Heathrow, I thought, well, I'm getting there at 6. My flight is at 11. I'm well ahead of time. Gonna have some breakfast, relax with the kids. Susie, I was in a queue for 3.5 hours.
Actually, that's a great tip, because I flew with my friend recently. We had a little girls' mini break. We did exactly the same thing. Got to the airport early. We were imagining a really chilled morning, and we were in the queue for about 2 and a bit hours. And we had people pushing past saying, "We're going to miss our flight. We're going to miss our flight." So you do need to prep for any flight, don't you, at the moment?
Absolutely, absolutely. And have all your documentation ready. And I think the most important thing is have snacks for the kids, have the iPads for the kids, because I mean, it is brutal on them, especially if you do like probably an afternoon flight and they're, a bit cranky. I mean, I always try to get overnight flights with the kids, but I
Yeah.
noticed that airlines, they've somehow clocked on to us and they put those flights more expensive. So,
Yeah, I always recommend a night flight, especially with younger kids. Get them in
yeah.
the days, and then they just sleep, don't they, most of the time? And so in terms of booking accommodation, how did you chosen your island?
Yes, so I
You booked
chose
it
my
with
island according to the drone pics and the kind of pics that I saw of the beaches and the first when I went 8 years ago, I went to an island that was really kind of built up. So this for the first island, I wanted a real deserted island feel. And I chose an island called Jagura, and Degura was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. It was so cheap. It's the longest island in the Maldives, very sparsely populated. It's like a cigar, shaped like a cigar. And there's a sandbank that joins Degura to a luxury resort called Lux. So, it's just really, it's jungle and turquoise beach and coconuts and yeah, and the hotels there are exceptional. They're not massive. The best hotel on the island is Bliss, but was a bit expensive, so we stayed in the next one called Diguveli. And what Bliss had over Diguveli was that they perhaps had more English speaking European savvy people on their staff. So, that's one of the things that when you stay on a local island, information isn't as forthcoming as, you just go to concierge in a resort.
Oh, yeah.
So, you really have to, I mean, some things are lost in translation. People are so eager to please, they say yes, 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 without understanding the question that you've asked. So,
Oh,
yeah. So, with Degura, because Degura is a bit far from Mali, we had two choices. You could take a 2-hour speedboat or you could get a local flight. So let me not mix this up. So there's seaplane transfers, which are ridiculously expensive.
I
It's like
imagine.
£700 per person. I mean, I could do so much with that £700. It's not even funny. But so there's a local airline called Maldivian Airways, and it was about 120 US for my husband and I, and the kids were like 90 US. So after that long flight, we decided we'll do that. And the hotel booked everything for us. We
Oh,
didn't
did
have to do
they?
anything. Yeah. So when we got to the airport, a representative met us. I don't know how he knew what I look like, but he met me holding no sign. He just came up to me, Natasha, and I was like, "Oh my God, yeah!"
That's
And I know, and he helped us with our luggage. He checked us in, everything, and we went and we got some food and we got some cake, as you do when you're on holiday. And then we went back to the little terminal, and then I heard my name being announced on the speaker, and I'm like, oh my God, what? So they're so strict with what you carry to the local islands. They scan all your baggage. So please don't think you can hide any bottles of wine or anything. You can't. They made a girl, throw out one of her perfumes because of high alcohol content.
no way.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was pretty random, but it happens.
Right. And that's interesting to know that the hotel organised all your transfer for
Yes.
you, because that's probably something that might worry people. They go for the package because they think it's going to be easier because everything's done. But actually, like you've just explained, the hotel organised that anyway, and at a fraction of the cost of the seaplane, which normally
Absolutely. And the hotel was so good, Susie, that they sent me the entire menu from the restaurant so I could see, well, what the kids would like, what they wouldn't like. They sent me all the excursions and the prices. So I was able to like really do some serious budgeting and planning because I knew ahead of time, well, and every excursion they would just write it on a board outside. So, well, if you wanted to go manta snorkeling or whale shark snorkeling, but I'll get to that because that's really exciting.
Oh yes, I saw your videos. So who did you book through? Sorry, Natty.
I booked through booking.com. I always use booking.com. I love that platform. I know that sometimes perhaps Airbnb has sexier properties, but I don't like I figure that you can be very discriminatory with Airbnb. Like, a host can see you, not like you, and cancel. Easy. With booking.com, I feel like I get really candid reviews from other travelers and I could make an informed decision. So I always tend to use booking.com. I have probably over 70 reviews on there as well.
Wow, that's incredible. And out of interest, did you book, there's often an option that says the cancellation, you pay 48 hours before or pay on arrival, or did you actually pay and book in advance?
Oh, no. I never book in advance. I always pay the hotel when I get there. And how they operate, well, in the hotels I stayed in the Maldives, is that so like the flights, the food, everything, just at the end when you check out, they do you an itemized list and you check everything and then you pay. And all the major hotels, they take credit cards, so that wasn't an issue.
Oh,
and
that's
the Mal-
amazing.
and the Maldives use US as their kind of standard currency. If you go to some of the local cafes, maybe they might give you change in rupiah, which is their currency, but I think US is accepted widely, and they have ATMs on most of the local islands because remember the people live there. It's like their home, and so when you take the local flight to get to you get to another airport, and then you have to take a speedboat 20 minutes from there to get to the island. And it was just such, I mean, there aren't no people playing steel pans or putting, but like just seeing that color blue
Oh,
and
yeah.
feeling that sun on your skin after you've been in the cold and you've been cloaked up in coats. It was just like all my cares just melted away, and I went into holiday mode.
I
And
bet.
I have to say that, like, I find the Maldivian people so wonderful with children, especially, like, the boat driver that met us there to take us. He he had no qualms about taking my 2-year-old son on his lap, driving the boat with him. I mean, he knew that my son would be restless on the boat. So he gave him something to do. And, like, any little cafes or restaurants we went, like, the waiters and stuff, if they weren't too busy, they would always play with the kids.
Yeah,
And
I like that. A bit like
yeah,
Thailand, really, isn't it? You have that.
yeah. Yeah, so I really love that. And, like, they would always all the locals would always say hello and smile. But oh my God, Susie, $4 for a coconut.
That's not Thailand price.
I heard on the forum somebody said they paid $15 for a coconut. Now, I'm originally from Trinidad. I've never paid for a coconut in my life.
Oh yeah, I know. And in Thailand, they're about 50p, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me,
So
Natty, the hotel, just so that people get an understanding of what they can expect. Can you
yes.
just give us an idea of what the accommodation was like? Is it like so it's a hotel? Did it have a swimming pool? Was it on the
No,
water?
no. So I think you'd be very hard pressed to find hotels on the local islands with swimming pool, because the beaches are so beautiful, so accessible, and then all their water is desalinated. So, water is kind of precious, right? On
Okay, yeah,
these,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
because remember, there's no kind of natural source of fresh water on these
Mhm.
islands. And the Digu Valley where we stayed, I mean, so on the 3 islands, I would say Dugura was the highest standard,
Okay.
because I think they expect a different type of clientele on that island compared to the others. Like, the bedding was amazing, like proper hotel quality sheets. They changed the linens every single day.
Oh wow.
Someone came in, cleaned your room. So our room, it was a family room. So it was one room. It was basically 2 rooms with no division in between them. 2 single beds and 1 double bed.
So it
And
sounds you wouldn't believe how many people are going to be rushing off to have a look at flights.
no,
Yeah.
the name of the hotel is Digu Valley, and I think we paid for about 7 or 6 days there. We probably paid about £500, which is
Amazing.
amazing,
Well, I'll tell you what,
amazing.
when I had a look earlier online, I was just having doing a bit fiddle around with some costs. You couldn't get anything for less than £500 a night for a family of 4. So that's
Yeah,
incredible. And actually, one thing we were talking about before was that the island's the same. You've got the same beautiful beaches, the same beautiful sea. The only thing you're compromising on is actually the hotel and the luxuriousness of that hotel. So if you're not a resort person anyway, which most people in our tribe travels aren't, why not book it yourself in this way? Actually, one thing we did mention before was insurance. I know that you had your insurance booked through your bank.
yeah.
I'm actually going to share some information next week, actually, about insurance with COVID cover, because I've done some research on it and had a look at. There are 5 providers who will cover you if the government makes any changes, or if you can't travel because of a lockdown. So I'll share that next week. But I think, like you said, with Booking.com, you're not actually paying anything until you arrive. Which does take away some of that apprehension that people might have about booking direct.
And their customer service is really good. Like, I've had 1 or 2 issues in the past, and I've called them and they've resolved it so quickly. And I think that with the reviews, you really know what you're getting into. You go into there and you're not surprised at all. Um, and then, like, I felt with Degura, like, there was such a community vibe in that hotel. Like, we went whale shark watching and we swam with whale sharks, which was amazing for $65. Hello, lifetime experience.
Wow.
So we went on this really big boat, and there were a couple other families. So we all took turns. I would look after the kids. They would jump in the water. Then they would look after the kids. I would jump in the water. We were all sharing snacks. We created this WhatsApp group,
Oh,
sharing tips.
lovely.
So it was a place that, really had like-minded people. Um, we linked up with this local fisherman, my husband and I, and we left our kids with, some of the hotel staff and the new friends we made. And yeah, we went fishing. We caught 14 fish.
Oh, wow.
And then we paid the hotel this little supplement, 20 US, and they provided this amazing fish dinner. We invited some people that we met there. So, when I tell you, like, beautiful, beautiful memories.
And so the trips, like you said, seem really great value. Are they? I mean, they're going to be very similar, wherever you go in the Maldives. So were they a lot cheaper because of the location you were staying in?
I I think the price depends on the provider that you go with, so like we went with some local guys, if you go perhaps with a bit of an international outfit with fancy kit and stuff, it's a bit more expensive. But I went fishing with a local guy. There was no cover on the boat, so I was interested. And then this boat that we went on, you know, she could go, but I don't know if she could have, I don't know if she could have come back.
All adds to the memories. That's what I
Oh,
say.
absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
I should say that if anyone watching live wants to ask any questions, please put them in the comments, and we can see them popping up. So if you do have a question and we haven't covered it so far, please ask away. Now let's talk about, because I get carried away chatting and it's already 20 past 6. Where did that time go? Let's talk about the excursions. So you went whale shark watching.
We went whale shark watching. So that was on the Gura. We went fishing. What else did we do?
The see-through
So,
boat. I saw
pardon?
the kids in the see-through boat, which I know you can see all the fish.
Oh
You know,
yeah. That's so that actually, so in the Gura, someone just left this transparent canoe there, and anybody could use it for free.
oh, lovely.
So we had lots of influencers taking pics on it. Oh, another thing to say, Susie, before I forget. So the local islands, you can only really wear your bikinis on the beach. So you have to be fairly modestly attired when you're out in the streets and stuff. That's so like shorts and a t-shirt. I found the Gura very much freer than the next island we went to. So I found the closer to Mali you stayed, which was the capital, perhaps the more traditional and conservative the people were.
Okay, that's interesting
So
to know. Yeah.
yeah, so like the next island I will only talk about Degura if you give me a chance. But the next island we went to, Okulhas, was very very different to Degura. Like there wasn't that desert island feel at all. Like every square inch of that place was built up with
Okay.
some kind of hotels or B&Bs, and they were quite, I mean, they clearly targeted like Russian, Czech, that side of Europe, because
Oh, okay.
a lot of the restaurants had items in that language.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How you get, yeah, and they facilitate different countries with their menus as well. And so, in terms of food, talking of food, actually, did you go out to the local cafes? What sort
Oh
of
yeah.
range are we talking about for this? Because that's another great thing about staying on a local island is you've got all these little cafes that you can visit rather than being on one resort where you're.
Come. Sorry, I have a little visitor here.
That's okay. You can come on as well. Come and join us.
Come.
You can tell us about your trip.
He's only 2.
Oh, he won't say much, will he, about his trip?
So no. So you had the option of doing the half board or full board, but we only took breakfast because we wanted to eat out in different places and you know taste the different types of seafood and stuff that they had on offer. And it did not disappoint. The food was always prepared fresh. It was food that I loved. Rice, seafood, noodles. They definitely had lots of pasta, lots of pizza for the kids, and with their own kind of Maldivian twist. Tuna pizza was very, very popular.
Oh, I bet. And in terms of like a price bracket, what would you be looking at for a family of four for dinner, for example, if you go local?
Okay, so in Dagura, you could get a burger, a fries, and a drink for $5 US, which I thought was amazing. Okulhas, the price raised slightly, so I would say between $7 and $9 US. Um, like if you wanted a proper main course, like if you wanted a whole fish cooked and like rice, I would say between 20 to 30 US. Um, but you could literally have something for any budget. There was in Okulhas, there was this restaurant which was like on the fifth floor, and it was uncovered, so you got all that sea breeze. And oh my god, like, you know, everything was really spicy and really fresh. And they tell you don't eat salads, but oh my god, the salads and the fresh fruit juices are amazing. Like, I don't drink alcohol, but I didn't miss anything.
Oh, it just sounds wonderful. So in terms of your trip that you did, is there anything that you would do differently, or I'm guessing that you'd probably spend longer on Vigora?
No, actually, I wouldn't. Like, for me, I feel like once I feel I have done an island, I like, people spend 2 weeks there. I couldn't do it. That's why I stayed on 3 islands. And when I stayed on those 3 islands in Okulhas, which was the closest to Mali, I did several day trips. So somebody had asked a question about snorkeling. So in there's an island, Aaron, there's an island called Rasdu, which Rasdhoo, which has amazing diving and snorkeling.
Okay. Yes, that was the question that was asked, wasn't it?
Aaron, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, amazing snorkeling and diving. In fact, the island, like all around it, it's like these little underwater. Oh my god, it's really, really fantastic. And
Oh,
their
so you
whale
snorkeled.
sharks. Pardon?
That's where you snorkeled, was it?
We snorkeled at different points, but we went to that island, yes, and it was fun. Now you have to. A lot of people go into the Maldives with this expectation that you're going to see these fantastic, thriving reefs. A lot of the reefs have been bleached because of global warming, and
yeah,
I mean, with some of the resorts, they've managed to protect their reefs, but for some of the local islands, no, it's there's a little patch of it here, and it's not colorful. There are fish, but it's not colorful.
I've just had a question pop up. Just have a Oh yes, Victoria. So she's just missed some of it. She'd love to hear more about it. Well, this is going to be downloaded and then uploaded onto YouTube, so you can watch it back at your leisure. And I will actually put some markers in to try and distinguish where we've talked about the hotel, how you booked it, and all that sort of stuff. So there's this chat is crammed full of knowledge, isn't it? I have to say that you're very well versed on this. So what else should we talk about? Because I think we've covered the booking, how you went about your booking, the hotel accommodation, how you chose it, the food, the day trips, the budget.
I think, and also what would be good for you, like when you make your booking on booking.com, always choose the cancelable ones. Like, I filter all my bookings to be cancelable, because we have kids, you just never know what will happen. And when you book, you have the ability to contact the hotel. And if you don't get a good vibe from that hotel, then by all means rebook, because I ask my hotel people lots of questions. And, I try to establish a bit of a rapport to get a feel of what that accommodation is. Because when you go to the local islands, you are really dependent on your hotel and your hotel people to take care of you, because you don't speak the language. And if there's any kind of emergency, they have to have your back.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, especially with the cancelable ones. You feel like you need to have that rapport, so they know you're coming, they're expecting you, and they trust that you're going to turn up, I guess. So it's good to have that rapport, isn't it?
On the final island that we went, it's called Tudu, and it's referred Tudu, and it's
Oh,
referred
okay.
to as the fruit basket of the Maldives because it's one of the biggest islands in the Maldives, and they do quite a bit of agriculture there. But the beach, Susie, oh my God, the beach is stunning. But 95% of the tourists in Tudu were Russian. Like the street signs in Tudu were in Russia.
Oh, really? Even the street signs. Wow, incredible.
I mean, for breakfast one day we got a boiled potato and
That's an experience you won't forget. Boiled potato. I've never had a boiled potato for breakfast.
no, absolutely. And I'll tell you something. As you know, like we were so the majority of people were Russian, and I thought, oh my God, these people don't like us, they're not speaking to us. But I ended up in the end chatting and making friends and stuff, and they were telling me that their English isn't good, that's why they don't really engage, and I was thinking, oh my God, stereotypes, they don't want to speak to me. But it's an island, everybody's relaxed, we're on the beach.
So would you go again? Because I know you're such an adventurous traveler. You like to go to places and then find somewhere else to have an adventure. Would you ever go back to the Maldives?
Absolutely, because the Maldives are made up of hundreds of atolls. So I've only been to about 3 or 4 so far. So I have, the friend that I made in Maldives 8 years ago, he has a dream to buy a cargo ship and restore it sometime in his life and visit all the islands. And he's like a really keen historian. So I mean, there's just so much knowledge that he gave us about the Maldives. Like, when women are having babies, they have to go to the capital a week before their due date. Can you imagine?
Wow.
I know, right? You never think about these things on these little islands. They have maybe a health center, maybe a local hospital, but all their healthcare is provided in the capital. Sometimes a 2, 4, 6 hour boat ride.
Actually, that's an interesting point in terms of emergencies and that sort of thing. What did you plan anything in advance so that you knew you were going to be where to go and what to do, or did you have any discussions with the hotel?
Yeah, absolutely have discussions with the hotel. So if there was an emergency that they couldn't deal with at the local hospital or health center, they would get you on a boat to the nearest plane, and then get you to the capital where there is world-class healthcare there, because my friend was telling me that the Maldives is launching health tourism. In fact, they were launching it in 2019, and then COVID came, so that had to shut down a bit. So hey, if you want any kind of surgery, maybe you can recover in the Maldives.
What, the saving you've made on your holiday? On the surgery. Oh dear. Oh, this has been brilliant. Thank you so much, Natty. And actually, we did put a poll up, didn't we, saying who wants to find out about the Maldives, because you've also done Jamaica in this way as well, and a lot of people want to know about that. So I have a feeling I might be inviting you back for another chat about Jamaica, if you don't mind.
Oh my God, Jamaica was awesome. People need to stop going to resorts, okay? You need to just stop it. You need to rent a car, stop on the side of the road, see a crowd of people, and start queuing there for food. That's what you need to do.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I think we need to have a little conversation starter about your favorite food or the most unusual food stall you've been to in the world, because I know a lot of people have been to some, really.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. Oh, it's always the best, isn't it? The little hut on the side of the road where it's like about 20p and it's cooked freshly in front of you, and Yeah, it's always the best.
And then and this uncle or this auntie is just chopping at the speed of lightning. Oh my God, that's the best.
Don't, I want to go traveling again. You're making me want to go away. Thank you so much. That was absolutely awesome. I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube over the weekend, and I'll put some markers in so people can quickly find different parts of the conversation, because we've been talking for 35 minutes.
Wow.
And really appreciate you sharing all of that, and your energy is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, Susie. Thank you so much. And Happy New Year, everyone. Please
Yeah.
support the local islands. Oh, another thing, Susie, when you tip these guys in these local restaurants, they refuse the money.
Really?
It's the most bizarre thing. Yeah. I tipped a guy and he looked so shocked,
Wow.
and they put their hand over their heart. It is, yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
really lovely, lovely people. Lovely people.
I might put it on my 2023 bucket list now.
I'll help you plan.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll have a lovely weekend. And thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a very busy time, people watching. So thank you.
All right. Happy New Year, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.